Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble! I'm back! Miss me?
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant Radio for December 16th, 2014. I'm your host, Bleacher Report featured columnist Graham G.S.M. Matthews. So much going on in the world of wrestling right now we're going to be talking about here today. Monday Night Raw last night, TLC from Sunday night, NXT TakeOver Our Revolution from last Thursday night. A lot to dissect here on tonight's show. We're going to be doing a different format than usual. I'll be talking about NXT TakeOver to kick off the show. But a little bit later on, I'll be airing the audio that I recorded with my roommate, Connor the Casual, as I call him. But, he's a casual viewer of the product. We watched TLC together this past Sunday night on the WWE Network for only, say along with me, $9.99, and had a really good time doing it. We're going to be talking about it a little later on in the show to not only get my thoughts on it, but his thoughts on it as well from a casual fan perspective. But, yeah, it's going to be coming up a little bit later on in the show, but kicking it off, though, like I said before, NXT TakeOver, Our Revolution from this past Thursday night on the WWE Network. For me, one of the most highly anticipated, if not the most highly anticipated special from NXT to date, and it definitely did not disappoint. I thought it definitely lived up to the hype in being the best, by far, live special that they've put on the WWE Network up to this point. But kicking off the show, though, or even before that, actually, it was Corey Graves announcing his in-ring retirement from the ring on the pre-show panel, along with Renee Young, Alex Riley, and Tensai, now known as, what's his name now? Matt Bloom, I think his name, or whatever the fuck is, I can't remember what his name is right now for the life of me. But, yeah, Corey Graves, former NXT standout, who has been absent from the ring for the last maybe 6, 7, 8 months now, I think it was. I can't remember I think it might have been back in April that he was in a match on NXT. I can't remember exactly right now. But, yeah, due to concussions, he will be retiring from the ring, which is very disappointing to hear. I was a big Corey Graves fan. You can play as him in WWE 2K15, the video game, which is pretty cool. I still have yet to get that, hopefully for Christmas. But still, though, it's pretty disappointing to hear that Corey Graves will no longer be an in-ring regular in NXT, but rather a commentator. So at least they found a role for him on WWE NXT TV, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like I said before, there was a lot of potential and a lot of untapped potential there with Corey Graves. I started watching NXT, what it is now. I started watching it, NXT in general, when it was a competition show when it first started back in 2010. But when it started to become the developmental program, I watched a little bit in the summer of 2012. I don't think Corey Graves was around that point. And in the time that I wasn't watching, from the summer of 2012 to the summer of 2013, that whole year period, I heard a lot of great stuff about Corey Graves, and I got into his character when I started watching during the summer of 2013 when he was doing the whole tag team with Adrian Neville and whatever else. And it was really kind of when he turned heel a little later on in the year, when he turned on Adrian Neville and he embarked on a singles career. He didn't, go after the World Championship or anything, but I thought his matches with Neville and especially Sami Zayn a little bit later on, I thought were stellar. And like I said before, I thought he really had a lot of untapped potential. And a lot of people have called him kind of a hybrid of Jeff Hardy and CM Punk. I can absolutely see that. I'm not going to say that he was going to be the next CM Punk or Jeff Hardy. But with both those individuals currently gone from the company, he could have filled that role pretty well. So I thought he was a really good talker, which is great why he's a commentator now. It's a very good role for him. But he was also very solid in the ring as well. And some people who don't have the, who don't currently watch in NXT or, haven't seen him in the ring as of late, and if you've only gotten to NXT just recently, you could probably go back in the network. I don't know how long it goes back until, but I know his matches with Sami Zayn and with those guys, Adrian Neville, are on the WWE Network from earlier this year if you want to check it out. But still, though, was a big Corey Graves fan. Glad to see him sticking around, but it does suck to hear that he will be having to hang up his boots for good in favor of a commentary career. But it is great for him to maintain that presence on NXT TV as a commentator. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his commentating career goes. But kicking off the actual show, though, was the debut of Kevin Owens, a.k.a. the artist formerly known as Kevin Steen. So I've been a fan of Kevin Steen since his ROH days. I'm not talking about, like, back in, 2011, 2012, whatever. I'm only talking about only a couple of months ago when I first started watching Ring of Honor. And, in the few months that I watched it, I don't really watch it much nowadays. I just don't have the time. But when I did watch it over the summer, I think the first match of his that I did see was with maybe Okada, maybe I want to say. It might have been with someone else. But it was at the War of the Worlds pay-per-view from earlier this year, and I thought that was great. But I instantly became a fan of Kevin Owens from that point forward, and I thought he did a very good job, in his time in ROH from the time that I watched him. So that being said, I was very excited to see him debut in WWE, and he did just that this past Thursday at the Our Evolution, I guess I should say, the NXT Live special. And we talked about it here live on the show last week on how he would debut, whether it would be in the main event, and he did have an impact in the main event. I'll get to that in a little bit. Or whether it would be in an in-ring segment or in a match itself. Initially, I was down on the idea of him being involved in a debut match, if only because, he's a main event player, he's, a big name. They shouldn't have him debut in just a random throwaway match and then not feature him for the rest of the night. And they did do that at first in a match with CJ Parker, which I thought was very good. I'm not the biggest CJ Parker fan, but the guy is very good in the ring, and him and Kevin Owens had a very stiff matchup, lots of blood and bleeding and cuts and whatever else, a lot of high-flying, high-octane maneuvers, as JR would say. But still, though, I thought the match itself was a very good way of kicking off the show. Great first look at Kevin Owens for anyone that hasn't seen him before, and I'm positive that probably 80%, close to 80% of the NXT viewers, not only, watching worldwide on the WWE Network, but also in the arena that night, they obviously knew who Kevin Owens was. Got a huge response when he first came out for his match. So I thought it was a great way of kicking off the evening. Very fun match from Parker and Owens. And of course, like I said before, it would not be the last time that we would see Kevin Owens on this show. So up next, we have the NXT Tag Team titles up for grabs with the Lucha Dragons defending against the Vaudevillains. And the match itself was really nothing special. I thought it was okay for what it was. It wasn't anything too great. Definitely a step above, many steps above, the Ascension Squash matches that we got months upon months upon months in NXT. So at least the tag team division is doing better right now. It's not as great as it could be, but at least they're adding more tag teams on a regular basis, which is great to see. I am a fan of the Lucha Dragons, not so much of the Vaudevillains. I think they are both good acts. I'm not like a bigger fan of one than I am of the other. I do enjoy both acts, though. And they did have a very good match on the show. I mean, I don't want to say it was the worst match in the show. I mean, there was a Baron Corbin squash match after all. But, I guess it was the most lackluster. But even that, it's hard to say, who is the worst member of the Shield? You know what I mean? They're all equal in their own way. They were all great. So it's really hard to say. It's like saying which of your kids is your least favorite. You know what I mean? I know that's kind of a stretch, but still, though. I didn't really have a problem with this match. I thought it was good. It just didn't obviously stand out as much as the other matches did on this show, and especially the other tag team match, which I'll get to in a second. But before that, we had a Baron Corbin squash match, like I said before, squashing Ty Dillinger. On the topic of Ty Dillinger, just want to mention this briefly. I am a Ty Dillinger fan. I do remember him back in his Gavin Spears days, if anyone can recall that, back in his in his ECW days, WWE's version, obviously back in 2009, maybe 5 years ago, and the guy, or maybe I think it was 2008 actually, and the guy was unceremoniously released. But I do think he's a very good in-ring talent on his own. I think he can be something. So I'm hoping that this squash match, obviously he was squashed, in 30, 40 seconds, but I'm hoping that this, match kind of signifies a start of a singles career for Ty Dillinger, because I think he has a lot of untapped potential that they're not really getting into in his tag team with Jason Jordan. Nothing against that tag team. Some people have called it the modern incarnation of the world's greatest tag team with Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think it's a good tag team, though. But still, and I know the NXT tag team division needs more teams, but I do think that Ty Dillinger can make more of an impact on his own than he can in that team. They've been around. Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger have been around in NXT, as a unit for the last maybe 8 months now. I can remember it was either before or after WrestleMania that those two debuted in NXT. And it was right around that time, and it's been a long time since WrestleMania, obviously, so they need to start doing something with them, or otherwise just scrap the tag team, because they're just a bunch of jobbers paired together, so there's really no point. But on to the actual match itself, like I said before, lasted all of 30, 40 seconds, over fairly quickly. Baron Corbin obviously coming out victorious there, and they showed Bull Dempsey in the crowd, so they're obviously building to an eventual stare down, an eventual clash of the titans between Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey, which is cool to see. I was very fearful they were going to give away that match on this live special. It would have been cool, but that's kind of a match where both guys are currently undefeated. They're both forces to be reckoned with. That needs to be a big match, and they only started this feud all of 2 to 3 weeks ago, maybe in NXT, so it would have been way too soon to give it away on the live special, so I'm glad they held off on it. I don't know if they'll wait until the next live special. That may not be for another 3 or 4 months. I don't know if I can wait that long through another 3 or 4 months of Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey squash matches. Because, I mean, Baron Corbin, I'm a big fan of the guy. I know he really hasn't done much, obviously, but, from his initial appearance in NXT, he got a big reaction from the Full Sail crowd, and I think he can be a big star in that organization, brand, whatever you want to call it. I know it's a developmental territory, but I do think he can be a big star down there if they handle the push correctly. I can probably see a brighter future for him than Bull Dempsey, even though I do like Bull Dempsey. I think that some people don't give him the credit he deserves. I'm not saying he's going to be the next world champion or something, but I do think he is pretty good in the ring. On the mic, he's come a long way in the last couple of months. But still, though, I do look forward to the eventual matchup between Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey. I do like also, like I said before, that they are taking their time with it, not rushing into it like they probably could have on this live show. And even still, I mean, with all the other great stuff we got on this show, it probably would have been overshadowed anyway, so it probably was for the best. So from there, we go into the tag team match, Hideo Itami and Finn Balor taking on the Ascension. A very good matchup. I thought this was better than the tag team title matchup. Everyone in this matchup shined, but especially Finn Balor, a.k.a. the former Prince Devitt. So speaking of Prince Devitt, coming out for his entrance, showing the old face paint, the whole body paint, actually, the whole Venom face paint, or what is very similar to the Venom face paint. I thought that was awesome. I mean, I'm not even a huge indie wrestler fan. I mean, I do obviously go to indie events, but I don't follow these guys on the independent scene. I did not see much, if much at all, of Hideo Itami, a.k.a. Kenta, or Finn Balor, a.k.a. Prince Devitt's work before they got to the WWE. I've just been following them since they debuted in the last couple of months. So that being said, I thought, even for me, like the point I'm trying to make is that even for me as a casual viewer for the independent scene, I guess you could say, for a guy that really hasn't followed the career of Prince Devitt and Hideo Itami, a.k.a. Kenta, past NXT, even I thought it was a very special moment when he came out with the body paint. And a lot of people have been thinking, will it be an on-occurring thing? Will it be, is it here to stay, only for the live specials? From what I've heard, I don't read the spoilers, but I did read somewhere that he did not come out with the body paint for the NXT tapings for the next couple of weeks going into 2015. So it does look like he will not be sporting the body paint for the next couple of weeks, which I'm okay with. I think it would mean more if he held off on the body paint for the live specials like he did here. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that it was really, really cool how we came out with that body paint, made for an awesome moment, and the crowd definitely reacted accordingly. And speaking of such, too, Kenta also had his moment to shine, Hideo Itami, that is, when he went for the GTS, and the roof almost came off that bitch. I thought it was amazing. And I didn't catch it the first time. I thought my whole timeline was blowing up over it, and I was freaking out why I didn't see it. But when I did go back and watch the show for a second time a little later on, it was that great of a show, people. I did catch it. I thought it was really, really funny how the crowd almost came unglued when he hit that GTS. And for those that are unfamiliar, that was Kenta's finishing maneuver back over in Japan. So, and CM Punk kind of stole it from him when he came to the WWE, and Daniel Bryan also stole his flying knee. So, I thought that was really cool that Kenta, a.k.a. Hideo Itami, busted that out here in his match against Victor and Connor, the Ascension, collectively. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing going forward, or if he's just going to keep on teasing the GTS before he eventually hits it. I think that could be awesome, but I would also not have a problem if they do not go that route, and instead it was just kind of a one-off thing for the live special, just kind of to add something special to this matchup instead of, having it become a regular thing. I'd be fine with that, but either way, I thought that was awesome. So needless to say, Hideo Itami and Finn Balor come out victorious. Good win for them. I would not at all have a problem with these two sticking together for the foreseeable future. I do enjoy the unit of Finn Balor and Hideo Itami. I think Hideo Itami does not have... like I said before, both are great, and RJ and I talked about this last week, but I do think that Itami, Balor, and Owens all have great potential in WWE. Though I do think Finn Balor comes off like more of a star right now than Hideo Itami. Maybe it's because he has better mic skills. It's really hard to pinpoint. But, even coming out with the body paint, he just came off with that feeling that this guy is a star. To someone that didn't even follow his indie work, he comes off like a star, which is great to see. So I would not have a problem with Hideo Itami teaming with Finn Balor for the foreseeable future. Maybe go after the tag team titles. A match between them and the Lucha Dragons would be kick-ass, so I would be all for that if they end up going that route. But if they break up and they go their separate singles careers, they go their separate ways, I'd be all for that too. So whatever they do with these guys, I'm all for it. And the Ascension, by the way, is also main roster bound. And we've talked about it here on the show for months upon months upon months. There's a clip on the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Graham Jason Matthews, if you want to check it out, of me talking about the Ascension coming to the main roster. There were rumors of it, dating back a year or two ago when they were supposed to come up. So I'm glad to see it's finally happening. Their recent vignettes on Raw and SmackDown have not gotten the ravest of reviews, if that's even a word, but they come off very LOD-ish, very Legion of Doom-ish, and I understand that, very Demolition-ish. I've been a fan of the Ascension. They're not the most exciting tag team, obviously, but that being said, I am a fan of them. I do think they are very good wrestlers in the ring. Their gimmick, of course, is not for everyone, so I do understand that for anyone that finds them boring or unentertaining, I very much understand where you're coming from, but at this point in time, the WWE Tag Team Division could get all the help it needs right now, and the NXT Tag Team Division will be fine. They will always keep on adding more teams, but the Ascension has been down there for close to 2.5 years now. It was far and beyond time for them to be called up, so I'm glad to see them on the main roster. When that will be, probably in the very near future. There really hasn't been any exact date set in stone for when these guys are going to be making their debut, but I would imagine probably on the cusp of 2015, maybe around the Royal Rumble time, maybe they debut in that matchup. Only time will tell, but still, though, on that note, I do look forward to the Ascension making their eventual main roster debut. So up next, we had the NXT Women's Championship up for grabs. Charlotte defending against Sasha Banks. Nothing short of an excellent match from these two. Just putting the main roster divas to shame. And, when I say that, I really mean no offense to the main roster women. I say that every single time, just to clarify, like when I talk about that on Twitter and whatever else. Girls like AJ, Paige, Naomi, Summer Rae, even Layla, there's so much great talent, so much great in-ring talent on the main roster right now. It's not their fault that they're not getting more time. It's more so of the fact that how they're booked and the presentation of the divas and how people just automatically just don't care because they've been neglected for so long. They just have this mindset like, don't really care. And the current feud between Nikki and AJ, which we'll get to when I do my review with Connor of TLC in a little bit, we didn't really actually talk about that because he wasn't there to watch that match and I did. I thought it was an okay match. But even the feud between AJ and Brie and Nikki right now, that whole bullshit storyline, they have still yet to explain why Brie and Nikki are back together, which annoys me to no end. But, the presentation of the divas right now is not great. Nobody really cares about the feud between AJ and Nikki. I like those two. I think they're both very great in their roles. More so Nikki, honestly enough. I know that's kind of shocking to say because I'm a big AJ fan, but I think Nikki has been playing her role as the vindictive heel to perfection over the last couple of months. AJ, she's not really the sympathetic babyface that she was a couple of years ago before she turned heel at TLC, 2 years ago today, to be exact. Hopefully she can get back to that point. She comes off like CM Punk light to me, which is fine at some points. Like she cuts good promos and whatever else. But going back to what I was saying before, you compare the NXT rookies. I put that in quotation marks. Those women to the divas on the main roster. There's no comparison how they're presented. The divas, the women, I guess I should say, on the NXT roster are presented in a much more positive, much more important light than they are in the main roster. It's just absolutely mind-blowing to me. Like, they were presented, their match was the second to last match on this show. And I did read someone say in the review of the show shortly thereafter that the women could possibly main event one of these NXT live specials. I don't know about that. I'd be all for it. I would be absolutely all for it. I don't know how likely it is, though. With that being said, maybe. I don't know about the next one because it looks like Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens is on tap for the next live special, and that's absolutely going to take precedence. But I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Becky Lynch, even for the four women that they have, they're really making the most of it. I know they also have Emma and Alexa Bliss and whoever else, but those are the four women that are shining right now, and they have how many women on the main roster? 12 maybe, and they're not even having an exciting division. It's amazing what they can make out of only 4 women on their roster, for the most part. Like I said, there's Alexa, there's Emma, kind of. I know she's the main roster, whatever, but she does make regular appearances. Carmella even. But, of those 4 women, they're really making the most out of it, and it definitely showed in this match. I thought it was a great match. What was the best match of all the women's matches on these live specials? Like I said before, they've all been excellent, so it's really hard to compare, and I'm not going to attempt to do so here. But I will say that both these ladies put forth a strong effort here. Charlotte, surprisingly coming out on top and retaining her NXT Women's Championship. Everyone thought, myself included, RJ as well. We talked about it last week on the NXT Our Evolution preview show. in regards to the Sasha winning the championship on the show. It did not come to fruition. I'm not at all disappointed by that. I am all for Charlotte keeping that title for the time being. I hope Bayley will be the one to take the title off her. We'll have to wait in due time. But Triple H mentioned in a press conference, some kind of conference call last week, that it appears that Charlotte, he was kind of talking about how he didn't come out and directly say it, but it was kind of implied that he was not a fan of how Charlotte was presented in her debut match on Monday Night Raw at the Slammy Awards last week, and I absolutely agree with him. We talked about it here on the show last week. But that being said, he kind of talked about and hinted that Charlotte, when she's on TV 6 months from now, that the casual main roster fans or the hardcore fans, whatever, aren't going to remember that. Now, although I disagree with that, the fact that he said that Charlotte won't be on TV for the next 6 months was a little bit more of a sign to me that she won't be on TV anytime soon. And had you told me a couple of months ago, should Charlotte be on TV right now? Absolutely not. I was absolutely against it because I didn't think she was ready. As of right now, I would have no problem with her sticking around in NXT for the time being. I think Sasha is more main roster ready than Charlotte, although if both go up tomorrow, they wouldn't be out of place because they're both excellent. But, that being said, they probably want to stay down there anyway so they can get longer matches like here and like with Paige and Emma. Paige, at this point in 2014, became a 2-time Divas champion. But her matches with AJ got all of, 4 or 5 minutes? The matches on these shows, which are only 2 hours, by the way, the pay-per-views are 3. The NXT Live specials are only 2. They got close to, maybe 15 minutes on the show, which I thought was awesome. But still, though, I really have no problem with Charlotte being kept in NXT for right now. 6 months from now, I don't necessarily agree with that. She could be on the main roster, maybe by WrestleMania season, maybe right afterwards, like Paige was. Only time will tell, but I look forward to that anyway. So we get to the main event. Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship. Hands down, I know this is a bold statement, but this very well might be my favorite match of 2014. And I'm talking about, I don't watch like the independents, like I said before. I don't watch New Japan or Chikara or whatever else, hardly even Ring of Honor, of WWE and especially of TNA. That goes without saying for TNA. But this very well might be my favorite match of 2014. I was making the list yesterday, and I'm probably going to do a Bleacher Report article in the upcoming future, in the very near future. And the Shield versus the Wyatt family is on there, the Shield versus Evolution, Daniel Bryan versus Batista and Orton in the main event of WrestleMania. And all those moments and matches were amazing and all, but everything about this match was perfect. There was nothing about this match that stood out to me as being a flaw. This was an absolute flawless matchup if there ever was one. From the build-up to the atmosphere to the people involved. Maybe you can credit the referee bumps, there being 2 of them, as a flaw. I didn't really see it that way. I didn't really see it as being much of a problem. I didn't really have much of a problem with it at all. But if anything, I thought it added to the matchup, especially when Sami Zayn almost hit Adrian Neville with the title. You saw the whole crowd going no. I was going no, watching at home on the WWE Network on my laptop. I thought that might be the moment where they turned Sami Zayn heel. I had flashbacks to WrestleMania 17 where they did something similar with Austin. So I was hoping they didn't go that route. They wouldn't go that route, and they didn't, thankfully. But even the tease of it I thought was awesome because this whole build has been around Sami Zayn being desperate to win that NXT Championship. And Adrian Neville came very close on several occasions to retaining his title, that there were a lot of awesome near falls, no interference from Kevin Owens, and we'll get to him in a second. But Sami Zayn setting up for the from the Helluva kick, I think it's what it's called. I mispronounce it all the time. It had that feel from the look on his face. He wiped his face. It looked like this is the moment. You can feel it in the fans. You can feel it in Sami Zayn's eyes. You can sense it. This is it. This is a moment that we've been waiting a year and a half for since Sami Zayn's debut on NXT. Hits the Helluva kick, gets the 1-2-3, place comes unglued, new NXT champion crowned. Love the post-match celebration. Like I said, everything about this was so freaking amazing. And it's amazing because RJ and I were talking about this a couple of days ago when I talked to him about this show, that it is absolutely asinine, absolutely mind-boggling to me that WWE's own competition is their own developmental territory. Like last night on Raw, there was a lot of NXT chants during one of the matches. I think it might have been the New Day versus Golden Stardust, and I absolutely do not blame the Detroit crowd for chanting that, if only because it's true. NXT is so much better booked. And I know you can credit, it's an hour show, it's nothing like the main roster, but it's not even about the time and whatever else. it's the storyline techniques, and I don't know who's on creative. I know Triple H is in charge. I know it's like his baby, but just everything about this matchup, everything about this show I thought was great. There was really nothing that stood out to me as being bad. If anything, everything on this show ranged from either good to absolutely phenomenal. And that's what I thought this main event was. The match I thought was stellar. And I mean, of course, the match may be on par with the match quality of Shield and Wyatt family, or Daniel Bryan versus Batista, or Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, both of those WrestleMania 30 matches. And I mean, granted, I know you can say that Daniel Bryan also had that kind of, that build as well, that people waited a long time, but even then, Daniel Bryan's build went from SummerSlam of 2013 to WrestleMania. So give or take 8 or 9 months. Sami Zayn's road to redemption is what they've called it. His road to the NXT Championship has been going on since this guy debuted on the company in NXT. Since he first faced Cesaro, his very first night in. From the time that he came up short against Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship a year ago. From the time he lost to Cesaro at Arrival. From the time he lost to Tyler Breeze. From the time he lost to the Fatal 4-Way. The consistent booking with this guy. I don't know if it was ever planned from the start or what, if it just happened to fall this way. But I mean, I don't know. It just made for one hell of a moment. I've gone back and watched it at least a dozen times in the last few days since I recorded this. As I recorded this, in the last 5 days, I've watched it. I mean, I get goosebumps every single time. It was just so great. But afterwards, anyway, Kevin Owens comes out, or the entire roster comes out. They celebrate with Sami Zayn, made for an awesome moment. Picked up on something because I did go back and watch the first ever Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville matchup from NXT. In NXT, not in like the indie scene. It was from about a year ago. It was number 1 contenders match for the NXT title. Adrian Neville won that match. And afterwards, Sami Zayn kicked out Adrian Neville's hand and then hugged him, much like Adrian Neville did here. So I don't know if that was intentional or what, and if it was, kudos to them, 2 thumbs up. I thought it was awesome. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I thought that was great. But the roster clears out. Sami Zayn gets his moment with the NXT title. Kevin Owens comes back out. He was the first one to hug Sami Zayn, and also the last one too before he left. But as they're walking back up the ramp, the logo comes on the screen. A lot of people, RJ included, he was telling me about it, how he turned off the show before he could see this happen. And then Kevin Owens out of nowhere lays out a vicious clothesline of Sami Zayn and delivers just a mind-blowing powerbomb to him on the side of the ring, at ringside. It was freaking insane. It looked like it hurt like hell. And just a great finish to an amazing show. Everyone saw this coming. I mean, we talked about this last week in that we thought Kevin Owens would have some sort of say, play some sort of factor in the finish of the NXT title match. Thankfully, he did, and they saved it until afterwards. But even then, I mean, it wasn't like he debuted here. He debuted earlier on in the night, so that gave people the impression like, oh, I mean, he did what he needed to do for the night. He had his match. He's done. He'll come out for an appearance later on in the night. So I thought that was it. So when he turned heel, even though we all saw it coming a couple of days prior in advance, it still shocked the hell out of me. I thought that was an oh baby boy moment if there ever was one. So I thought that was great. What a great finish to the show. It gives something for viewers to look forward to if that was the first NXT show they've ever tuned into. Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully you've been watching for long enough. Because I don't know how you haven't been. NXT's been consistently amazing for the last year and a half now. But, I mean, even since it joined the network back in February, NXT has been the show to watch all of 2014 long. It's the most consistently entertaining program in WWE, in wrestling, in my opinion. Lucha Underground is also up there. I think that's a great program that also got started about 2 months ago or so. But NXT, the build-up to everything about the live specials, I think is great. So I give that live special 2 thumbs up. I thought it was an A+ worthy show. Absolutely go back and watch it if you haven't already on the WWE Network. Miles better than the TLC pay-per-view, which we'll get to in a minute. But this, blew that show out of the water. And I mean, like I said before, it's amazing to me that WWE's own competition is their own developmental territory. And those chants for NXT last night on Raw were absolutely deserved. I thought it was hilarious. But speaking of TLC, we'll get into that right now with my roommate, Connor the Casual, like I called him before, ScrubLord, as he called himself during our podcast. We talk all about TLC. He's only been watching wrestling with me for the last 3 or 4 months since we first came back to campus for our sophomore year of college, and he's been watching on and off. We watch Raw together at some point. We've watched the pay-per-views. We watched Night of Champions. We watched Hell in a Cell. He watched Survivor Series on his own, and we watched TLC this past Sunday on the WWE Network. Had a very fun time watching it, and I thought it'd be interesting to get his thoughts on the show from a casual fan perspective and seeing what he thought of the show from his eyes. So we'll get into that right now. Enjoy.
Not signing out an official audio recorder, Wemmer style. We're just doing this like amateurs with my iPhone. Not doing it in the version that, not going to do it with his technique of holding it back and forth and just think it's pointless.
It is fucking pointless.
So what are we going with here? Connor the casual? We're going with Connor? Because technically you are a casual viewer, but it depends what you want to go with here. Because I know you don't. I know you look at the casual name like discriminatory. So
Call me ScrubLord.
ScrubLord. ScrubLord. Okay, we'll go with is Connor the ScrubLord or just ScrubLord?
Either one. ScrubLord kind of sounds funnier.
ScrubLord. Okay, Mr. ScrubLord. So we started off the pay-per-view. I actually, because when I started it, Heidi was still here, so I had fucking problems with my computer, so we only got to watch like 3/4 of the opening match and not the entire thing. But still, though, opening match, Dolph Ziggler and Luke Harper, ladder match, Intercontinental Championship. Hellacious way to kick off the show. Okay, so we got to watch the first like 3/4 or last 3/4 of it. But anyway, Zigzag, the Zigzag Man coming out victorious, new champion crowned. From a casual perspective, I know you don't like the Connor the Casual nickname, so I'll go with ScrubLord. What were your thoughts in the opening matchup from TLC?
I thought it was really awesome. I mean, the ladders.
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah, ladder match, yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of ladder matches. I mean,
Indeed.
I just started watching this past fall, so I mean, I think it was...
I think it was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how the tables, ladders, and chairs and the stairs played in.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, the stairs. Oh my god, the stairs match was just amazing. Yeah, so I mean, that was like the first time I'd ever seen like would you call them like props or weapons?
Weapons, props, yeah, same thing. All in the same.
First time I've ever seen weapons used in a match, and I was not disappointed. I was very pleased.
That was a hell of a way to kick off the show, too, with all the abuse they took of those fucking ladders going back and forth and all the other shit.
One of them started bleeding.
Yeah, I think both of them started bleeding at one point. Because
Who got it first, Ziggler?
I think it was definitely Ziggler, because there was blood coming down his face. And then you said, is Harper bleeding too? And I was like, I'm not really sure about that, but then like a minute or so later.
That was a definite point. You're like, oh, crap.
Like, shit, yeah, he's right. Yeah, like he's actually bleeding. Because I think they posted a video after the show of him getting stitches or something. I think he got a laceration on his head or something like that. But yeah, that was a crazy way to kick off the show. So I think that was pretty sweet. So Zigzag coming out victorious in his hometown, new Intercontinental Champion. But yeah, speaking of the blood, though, it's not often they get to see blood. So for a first ladder match, it's pretty nice. Especially with the PG product, they don't do blood as what they used to. But
well, I can't. If it's an accident, I guess.
No, yeah, I think that was an accident. Yeah, I don't think they do it intentionally anymore, obviously. But if it's an accident,
no more teeth through the nose anymore.
No more teeth through the nose. Yeah, I think he's referring to the Mick Foley Undertaker match from a couple of years ago, from 15 years ago. That was pretty insane. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point again, but still, that was a pretty sweet ladder match. But up next, we had the Usos versus Miz and Mizdow for the tag team titles. Now, of course, I don't even remember most of this matchup personally, but of course, the shining light of this matchup was the stunt double Mizdow, who you obviously proclaim was more popular with the audience than Miz himself, and that's obviously a popular sentiment. So I want to get your thoughts on that a little bit more.
Mizdow is an animal. I want to see that guy do his own stuff. Like I feel. I'm worried about that, though, because I feel like if he does do his own thing, like you've predicted a lot that he might break off from The Miz and just be his own guy. I feel like he might lose what makes him so funny. And
exactly.
It's that element, but if he can find his own, if he can get his own stride, I feel like people would really like to see him come into his own. Like you said, I don't remember too much of the match. I know that the Miz and Mizdow kind of won him like a technicality or something like that.
Yeah.
People were booing them because they didn't think that was a good ending to the match.
Yeah, that was a weird finish. Yeah, the Usos came out victorious via disqualification, I think it was.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's always just fun to watch those two go. I mean, he just looks all confused, and then he'll just run over the other side of the ring and just throw his arms up.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy's golden.
Yeah, he mimics everything he does. It's hilarious. But, yeah, Mizdow is obviously the star of most of these matches that the Miz is involved in. But it's funny that you say that because a lot of other people have said that too. That he once those two break up, which obviously will be coming at some point. I don't know whether it's going to be in the near future, the next month or so. There really hasn't been a timeline on whether that's going to happen. But a lot of people have said that this is the peak of his popularity, and then it's only going to go downhill from when they break up. I think if they handle it well enough, and if he can continue to be entertaining after he breaks away from this, I think he can float on his own. Because he was doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Because obviously before you and I started watching when I came to campus a couple months ago, he was doing his own thing for a while, and he was entertaining in his own right. But
yeah, I mean, when people say that it's the peak of the popularity, they mean he can't go any further with the thing that he's doing. I mean,
exactly.
If he starts doing something else, yeah, I mean, if he keeps adapting, obviously he's going to stay relevant. But if he can't figure out a new thing to do, then yeah, he might decline in popularity some.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's going to be doing that thing anymore, but he'll find something else to do.
That'll never get old, though.
No, that'll never get old. They've been doing that for, I think, as long as we've been watching since September. Since I got here, I think they've been doing that for a while. Because one of the first shows that we watched, remember they were doing the fucking... the fappening mocking, remember that? The backstage shit? Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was. I think that's like one of the first 2 shows that we watched when we came back. But they've been together for a while, so hopefully they can keep it up. But
that was a good time.
That was a good time, yeah. But Mizdow is absolutely an animal, like you said. He is golden. So I'm looking forward to what they do with him going forward. But up next, one of your favorite matches of the night, which I thought was pleasantly surprising. The Big Show, the big guy, well, not the big guy Ryback's coming up, but Big Show versus Erick Rowan in a steel stairs match. Now, obviously, the stairs match for regular fans and whatnot, this is a new thing. So you got to see the first ever stairs match here. There's a lot of speculation going in how this is going to be handled. Was it going to be something similar to a ladder match? I don't know, with stairs instead, but they just ended up hitting each other with stairs a whole bunch of times, and that was amazing. I felt the impact every time a stair hit one of those guys. Those things are huge. It did a whole tail of the tape right beforehand too, with the weight of the stairs. I didn't pay attention how accurate it was. 85 something. Yeah, it was weird.
It was. I don't know if it was probably not kilograms.
No, I don't think it was kilograms. Yeah.
Only the Hulk could pick up 85 kilograms. Just tossing around like it was nothing.
Exactly. But the match itself, and then it was the finish of the match that you liked the most.
Made that. That was really smart.
That was what you fancied the most. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
I was not expecting to see such a tactical approach taken. That was like, how is it going to end? They're just going to keep smacking each other with stairs. I'm like, he's going to pin him with the stairs.
With the stairs, while sitting on the stairs.
That's pretty smart.
It's innovative, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that. So.
Exactly. So yeah, I thought it was innovative. Yeah, I think I was not a fan of Big Show winning here, but at least the way, like you said, was cool.
You got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, I know they've been playing Big Show off as kind of a jerk ass the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Especially with all that happened in the last pay-per-view.
Yep.
But I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. That was a freaking awesome way to end a match.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that done before, where he places his stairs over him and then proceeds to pin him that way. I don't even know if he pinned him. I think he was just had the stairs on top of him and then just sat on it. I don't know if that counts as a pin, but...
Well, what he did, I think what he did was there was a divot in the stairs, and it kind of looked like this V shape.
Oh yeah.
And he had his neck
on
in
his
that
neck.
V shape, and he didn't pin him. He just
trapped him pretty much.
Trapped him with the stairs.
Yeah, because that's where the ring post goes when they put it up against the ring.
I mean, anybody could have just put the stairs down on him and sat on his chest, but that
fucking Big Show, yeah.
Especially Big Show, but that was, I don't know, it was really cool. That's all I can. It's not the most eloquent way to say it, but it was really fucking cool.
The match itself, or the ending of the match, or both?
Both, but especially the ending.
Yeah, that was an innovative matchup. I can't say I fancied it too much myself, but I will say that I will give credit where credit is due, like you said before, with the finish of that matchup, with Big Show winning via the steel stairs over the neck of Erick Rowan. I thought was a little interesting. Maybe Erick Rowan can finally get his win over Big Show at some point in time. We'll have to wait and see. But up next, we had John Cena taking on Seth Rollins in a tables match, where if John Cena lost here, he would lose the right to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the next pay-per-view when we come back in January at the Royal Rumble. So I thought this matchup was going to be the main event. It ended up not being. It was in the middle of the show, which is pretty cool. But
it was kind of like a double main event.
It was a double main event, yeah, exactly.
Both this one and the Ambrose and Wyatt were pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of speculation going into the show, which match was going to close the show, and it ended up being Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this matchup, though, like I said before, well, you just said you called it awesome, so I want to get your thoughts on why exactly it was awesome, this tables match.
Technically, this match ended 4 times.
It did, yes, on multiple occasions.
If you want to look at it the way that most people are going to look at it, they have that whole thing with the ref being knocked out, and I just think it was really impressive how long it went.
It was like a 25-minute match.
It was an endurance fest for those guys. So again, I mean, I really admire the training regimens that these guys must go on to be able to do something like that for 25 minutes. So huge credit there. I'm trying to remember.
Well, you just said too how long this matchup went on, because we were planning on ordering food like we do during every pay-per-view. We did it during Night of Champions, Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series. We weren't here for last night, or on Sunday night we did it. Today's Tuesday as we're filming this. So it was like 9 o'clock, and you're saying, yeah, let's, we'll find a happy medium here. We'll order at 9:15 instead, as opposed to 9:30. And I was going to wait until after the matchup ended to make the call to order the food.
And it was just like it kept going.
It kept on going. Well, it ended technically, but it kept going and going and going because it kept on restarting the matchup.
Rollins went through the table, the ref didn't see it, and everyone's just like, okay, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, exactly. And they both went through the table. It was like fucking insane. And then it didn't end up ending until like 9:30, so that's when we ended up ordering the food. But
and then Roman Reigns came back. Actually, Big
Show.
Big Show came out, and then Reigns came out and just slapped the shit out of Big Show.
Exactly, just all fuck it. Oh, the Superman punch was last night on Raw, but I think
I'm sorry, it's finals week, and I'm just
no, I'm thinking the same thing. I can't even remember what he did to him. I know he cleared him out of the ring or something like that.
He knocked him. He beat TFO.
Yes, he absolutely did. You want to explain to the viewers what that means? Because I didn't know what that meant.
BTFO, if you don't know what it means, it's blowing the fuck out. So.
Blowing the fuck out. There you go. And that's exactly what fit the description here. So yeah, Big Show came out. That's when the ending came in. So like you said, John Cena won at one point. He put him through the table. Ref wasn't looking, even though he was down at ringside. That was a little weird. They both go through the table, so they're both declared victors. They restart the match again. Big Show comes out, tries to help Rollins win. Roman Reigns makes his big return. The crowd, he gets a nice reaction from the crowd. They love him. So he takes out Big Show, helps John Cena win, and John Cena solidifies his spot as the #1 contender to the title come the next pay-per-view. So,
but then last night wasn't that kind of like null and void by what happened last night when Rollins...
In the cage match?
Yeah, in the cage match.
I don't think so. I don't think that was on the line. They didn't really make that clear. I think John Cena and Brock Lesnar is still happening. I don't think that was ever on the line again. But I think it was just on the line in that matchup at the pay-per-view. It was kind of confusing. We'll probably get to that a little bit too. But you thought this was a good matchup on the whole?
Yeah, that was a really great matchup. Again, 2 days later, one of the ones that really just sticks out. And like I said, this is finals week. There's a lot going on right now. So for me to remember it as a casual 2 days later, I think it says something.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. For better or for worse, yeah. It's definitely convoluted at points with all the different times they try to end the match and then whatever else. But the ending I thought was cool. With Big Show coming out, I'm like, because you saw me. I was sitting there and watching fuck, like Big Show, like, are you serious? Like, of all the people that can come out.
Roman Reigns came out.
And then Roman Reigns. And I was excited, exactly, because no one saw that coming, because that wasn't advertised, so... It was nice how they did that. It wasn't just Roman Reigns coming out and then just him, him coming out, laying the fuck out of Rollins, whatever else. They had the Big Show coming out. I think that's what made the moment better because you were like, oh shit, he's coming out. But they made it 10 times better by having Roman Reigns come out and help John Cena win. So that was pretty cool. So that was that match. Up next, we had the Divas title match. We won't really talk about that because you had to go leave to go get money real quick. I mean, it really wasn't anything special anyway. Nikki Bella came out victorious, still the Divas champion, and that was that. You did come back for this matchup, though. Ryback, the big guy, not the big guy at Bane, not that big guy, a different big guy, versus the big red monster with the 3-foot schlong Kane. And for those that don't understand that joke, go watch See No Evil. We watched it for the first time a couple months ago.
Watch See No Evil.
You just need to know of it, yeah.
It's,
you can't even watch the movie because they didn't acknowledge it in the movie. It was supposed to be in the movie.
Basically what it is we heard online somewhere that Vince McMahon wanted a scene in the movie See No Evil where Kane's character had a 3-foot penis. And that just strikes me as so strange. I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm a pretty big horror movie fan, and I can't think of any horror movie where a 3-foot penis would be at home.
Well, that was the talk until for like the week, because they ordered the movie for like a penny on Amazon, $3.99 plus the penny. It came out to like $4. So it was a nice DVD to get off Amazon, so we ended up watching it. But in the week leading up to the movie, though, we were contemplating, like, in what role would a 3-foot penis come into play in a horror movie? Like, and how would that ever... I don't know, like, because we watched the movie, and you're thinking to yourself, where would this come in?
I knew this... Like, when I watched the movie, I knew what scene he wanted it to be in. Like, it would be here. But I just, like, what would it add other than just, like, what the fuck is going on?
That's exactly it, yeah.
It would just be so, and, like, I don't want to see that. That's, like, one of the things, I think we can all proudly go through life saying that we would not ever want to see Kane have a 3-foot penis in a movie. But yeah, I can't say much more of it other than what the fuck.
I think that's, because you gotta know Vince well enough, and we're both huge Vince McMahon fans here, my friend. We're a bit disappointed he wasn't in the pay-per-view, but he was in the last one, though. But, yeah, that's just kind of the par for the course with Vince, that he just does shit just to entertain himself. Like, I think I told you about this, but I know a couple months ago they had someone puke. And for those who know what I'm talking about, it was Vicky Guerrero. It was back in, like, June. They had her puke. Now, you can't see her, but you see the puke spewing onto Stephanie McMahon. And it really entertained... It didn't entertain my demographic, the older demographic, probably not even the kids.
Certainly did not entertain Stephanie.
Absolutely not, exactly. Not her demographic either. But the only person that it really entertained was him. So that's just kind of par for the course with him. And I mean, he says he's not out of touch, but I don't know. For a guy that's 69 years old, I guess you can expect 3-foot schlong shit from Vince McMahon, but I don't know. I guess that's kind of what he does.
My grandfather is 69 years old, and the second he starts talking about 3-foot schlong,
I would be concerned.
I'm probably going to put him in a home. God bless him.
I'll probably put Vince in a home once he starts doing that kind of shit again. Hopefully that's not in the near future. But thankfully there were no 3-foot schlongs in this contest between Kane and Ryback. But the crowd is pretty dead for this match. I'm not really surprised. It happened late in the show. People didn't really care. They came alive for Ryback at some points. And then, there were some cool spots. Like there was one really nice spot in the matchup where I think Ryback was getting ready to finish him off or something. He just chucked a fucking chair in his face. Remember that? That was sweet. And then Ryback ended up coming out victorious. But what were your thoughts in general on this matchup?
I really don't remember, again, too much of it.
Can't blame you.
I was really just looking forward to see Ambrose and Wyatt go at it. Because, up until they announced the Cena-Rollins match, I didn't know which one it was going to be. So I was just, oh, crap. Because I am a casual. I am a filthy casual, but I do understand that I do understand that Ambrose and Wyatt are the crazy uncles of the WWE. So I was not disappointed with that. I'll talk about that when we get there. But I was at that point. I was just hyped up to see that, and I think at this point we had gotten our food, so I was kind of just stuffing my fat face.
Yeah. Well, I think. When did we get our food? I think we got our food around like 10:15ish, I think. Oh, no, we'll talk about that in a minute when we ended up getting it. But this was like right before that, because we ended up getting our food during the Rusev and Lana match, which we'll get to in a second with Jack Swagger. And we'll get to our fascination with Rusev and Lana in just a minute. But this match was really nothing special. Like I said before, Ryback ended up picking up the win. Good win for him. People, the Feed Me More chants are really into that kind of stuff, so... Good win for Ryback. Not really much more can be said about that. Up next, U.S. Championship on the line. Rusev defending against the Real American Jack Swagger. Fine matchup. Like you said, we got our food during this contest. We got the phone call. And we'll talk about Rusev in just a second, but I was very fearful because you mentioned before this, like, is there going to come a point, it may have been after the match, I don't know, but where you said, is there going to come a point where he eventually loses? Like, it's going to be a big deal.
This was last night that I said this. Yeah, so far, Rusev, he has like 2 gimmicks in one. The fact that he's never lost a match, technically. Yeah. And the fact that he's got the Russian Ivan Drago, I must break you thing going on. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to... obviously, he's going to have to lose at some point. You mentioned that they might do it at WrestleMania.
I was thinking that.
It's going to be a big thing.
It's a big stage.
But my concern is, what are they going to do with him when he does? That'll sort of break that cockiness that he has. Yeah. They could do it, but it'll take a lot of skill. It just depends where they go. I can never tell what's coming next with the company, so maybe they probably will surprise me. Yeah. That's my concern about Rusev. They're going to take him.
Oh, absolutely. That's my concern, because I think he's really, really good, and he's come a long way in such a short period of time. Because he only came to Raw and all the other shows, the main shows, technically, is what you can say, back in, like, April. So he hasn't really been around all that long. So he's been undefeated for maybe 8 months now. But in that short period of time, people hate this guy. Like, he's been getting great reactions, stuff like that. Like, people...
Well, yeah, it's
the anti-American thing.
It's the Cold War thing. People's really still on over that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's simple, and he's really good in that role, too, and so is Lana. We'll get to her in a second.
But
what is there to say about Lana? She's a fox.
Exactly, she is a fox, not the fox.
Not
That's an inside joke for ourselves.
That is someone on our campus who, yeah, that's it.
Maybe she and Lana are related or somewhat because they kind of look alike a little bit. Maybe with the blonde hair. No, maybe they're just both foxes though. Not even in the same family.
I'm gonna be honest. Our fox blows Lana out of the water.
That's true. For a Russian fox that she is, I think she's passable. But yeah, Rusev. I think when he finally loses, it's gonna be a big deal. Who it ends up being against, I think, is a big question. More so than what they do after he ends up losing. Like it could be. Like, some people have said John Cena. Like, I could see that because they haven't really done that. And, John Cena is kind of like the pro-American kind of guy. Like, that. Mm-hmm. So, I could see that, but that's going to, take time.
They probably wouldn't do it, but Lesnar would definitely do it.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that like last night. Brock Lesnar versus Rusev. Like, that could be an interesting matchup. They would have to turn one of them into a good guy. I don't know. But maybe even Rusev. Some people have talked about that before, which would be interesting.
Question. Does there need to be, like, a good guy, bad guy? Can it just be two dickbags going at it, or has there always generally been just like this guy's a jerk ass, this guy's
like in any other story? Usually, it's always a good guy and bad guy. Like 90% of the time, it is. Like sometimes on WrestleMania, they'll do good guy. They'll do like they did John Cena and The Rock a couple years ago, where both were good guys, even though the fans favored The Rock over John Cena. Technically, in the essence of the story, they were still technically good guys. And they could do that with bad guys. It's harder, if only because if you think about it, there's no one for the fans to technically cheer for. So they'll just be booing both guys throughout the match, and they really don't have a say in who wins. Like it's a little harder to do that. Like they can make him into like an anti-hero, like Rusev or Brock Lesnar for that case.
Well, Rusev's just a straight hero if you're Russian.
That's exactly it. Like I was telling you last night, like. If you really look at it, Rusev is not a bad guy. Like,
are there many Russian fans?
I'm sure there are in fucking Russia, yeah. They go over to Russia, they must be getting cheered like crazy, I'm sure, I'm
sure Putin's tuning in every night.
Yeah, because Putin, they're touting him every single fucking week. They're like he's a god, and to them he is. He never cheats. He wins all of his matches, just clean and whatever else. I mean, there's really nothing bad about him if you technically think about it. But, like, even last night when Jericho was talking, they were, throwing the insults and whatever, like, if you, the Sputnik thing, like, if you think about it, they weren't throwing anything back at him. Like, they didn't do anything to instigate the assault, the verbal assault on them. So it's, I don't know, if you really think about it, he's not a bad guy. But, yeah, like you said, when he eventually loses, it's going to be a big deal. And who it ends up being against, where it is, when it is, it's all going to be a matter of time. It's all about aftermath, I think. If they follow this up properly, like if they can continue to make him out to be a big deal, not that he just loses and then he's like gone, then he could be, still relevant. But like we were saying before, the matchup itself, like we got food delivered during this match. So I'm thinking right after you said that, I'm thinking Karma's going to say that while I'm out going getting my food,
something good's going to happen.
Something good's going to happen. Like, he's going to lose right now, and I'm going to come back, and he's going to be on the ground, the title's going to be off and whatever. And thankfully, that did not happen. I didn't think it was going to happen here, but I thought they might throw us a curveball, and it did not happen. But, we got our food during this matchup. Rusev won here, so that was that. And then we get to the main event. Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, tables, ladders, and chairs match, TLC matchup in the main event, which I didn't think originally would main event, but it did. So that was a great spot for them, and I think they definitely made the most of it. Just a lot of chaos, I think, and to sum it up in one word, chaotic, was this matchup. So I want to get your thoughts on it.
Dean Ambrose never disappoints.
He does not.
Hell in a Cell, that was my first sort of like pay-per-view that I was sort of vested in it. I'd been following it up. I was really excited to see him and Seth Rollins go at it in the cage.
Also in the main event, yeah.
Also in the main event. It's funny because up in the days leading up to that, you were watching the DVDs, and that was the first time I heard about the Mick Foley.
Yeah, Mick Foley, the nose and the thing.
Falling off the cage in the nose.
Yeah. The cell itself, yeah.
Yeah, so and I was asking, like, oh, shit.
I could do that tomorrow, yeah.
And you're like, no, they probably won't do that because, he got really messed up during that.
Yeah,
and
it was a long time ago.
Okay. And then it kind of happened when both of them fell off the cage.
It did, yeah.
So Dean Ambrose has never disappointed me in terms of just craziness. The one thing in this match that made me cringe was the kendo stick. And the
eyeball, right?
almost the eyeball.
Talk about see no evil right there.
my-
That's exactly what it was.
That pun sucked.
No, I was just pulling that one out of my ass.
Yeah, put it back in your ass. Yeah, that, holy crap. I mean, I was actually, like, legit concerned that this man had just been blinded on TV.
It looked like it, yeah. He almost got blinded a little later on. We'll get to that in a minute, but...
Yeah, let's see. There was one really crazy, I don't know how to describe it, but Ambrose was, like, trying to bounce off the ring, and Wyatt just comes around and just decks him.
Oh, yeah, he bounced off the ropes, and he just fucking, like, knocked him out with a clothesline or something.
That wasn't the clothesline, that was...
He just, like,
his
knocked
arm
him.
turned into a steel freaking girder. Holy shit, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was nice.
And then when Ambrose went to go get, like, the biggest ladder he could find and just jump off
Off it through the table, that was sick, yeah.
And then when they demolished the announcer's table.
The Spanish announce table, no less.
They really did. From my limited experience, I've seen Survivor Series, Hell in a Cell, and now this pay-per-view.
Yep.
Those guys really get the goofballs.
The Spanish announcers absolutely do.
They give it to them.
They get the short end of the stick every single pay-per-view. I feel for those guys. They better get bonuses or something. In pesos. That's bad.
It's
but,
terrible.
But still, that was... Speaking of not terrible, though, that was a great move from Ambrose doing, I think it was an elbow off the top of the tallest ladder they can find through the table to Bray Wyatt. Think he's going to finish off there. Bray Wyatt goes in the ring. He rolls him in the ring. He's about to finish him off. So this is the thing, too, because like halfway through the matchup, we see this TV. Ambrose takes up this TV.
And he takes up the TV, and then he just he looks at it, and like he can see himself through the Jumbotron or something like that.
You asked a logical question, though,
like,
what
the fuck's up with the TV?
Yeah, well, where is it plugged in, too?
Yeah, where is it plugged in?
Yeah.
Apparently it was plugged in somewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, it had to be, yeah.
And then he puts the TV down, and I just remember you were just, like, so mad. That,
yeah, it was like...
You thought for the longest time that TV was just, like, a one-off, and it wouldn't play any part in it later. And it really didn't up until the very last second.
So at least they paid it off, yeah.
Yeah, he takes the TV, and he's trying to... It must have been hooked up somewhere under the ring.
Yeah.
Ambrose takes the TV. Wyatt's on the floor. He's holding himself. He's freaking out.
Yeah.
Ambrose takes the TV and he tugs on the wire, and then he just goes ape shit on it and tugs it. And I thought it might have been like an.
It looked legit. Yeah.
That the pyrotechnics there were very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was an explosion with the TV, and Ambrose couldn't see, and then Wyatt took advantage of it and then just put him down. Less than favorable outcome since I like Ambrose, but
Same.
It was still a fantastic match. As they say on the internet, they say good game, GG.
GG to both competitors, indeed.
GG all around. But yeah, wow, what a way to close out the event.
The pay-per-view era, so to speak, of 2014 here on campus, our last showing here on campus. While eating our food, too, which is also pretty enjoyable. A nice combination there. Right in time for the main event. But yeah, I thought this was a great match, and it was definitely fitting in the main event spot. The Cena-Rollins thing, like we were talking about before, was a really good match. I enjoyed that. But I thought this was 10 times better. I thought, like, in terms of, like, the risks they took and stuff like that, I thought it was really cool.
They also had more stuff to work with.
They did, exactly.
And
exactly. They had all the different weapons, all the different props, and like we were saying before, so they definitely had some more innovative stuff in there. The TV stuff...
The kendo stick, too. I didn't know
the
that.
Kendo
I didn't
stick,
expect that to come out again, because I know he used that in Hell in a Cell.
He did, yeah. Like you said, it's kind of like his gimmick, so to speak, his shtick, and pulling out the kendo sticks. But yeah, still, the TV thing I thought was weird, and a lot of people online were shitting on that, saying it was lame and whatever, but I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, I guess it's better than... it's something original, because you wouldn't think it's something that they would do, like with the TV, like, I never see that I've never seen that happen in any other form or fashion, whatever. So, I mean, it was unique, I guess, so it was what it was. But, still, the match itself I thought was really, really good. I didn't really have a problem with Bray Wyatt winning, even, because if you think about it, Dean Ambrose is kind of like that underdog type and whatever else, and I think, because at the pay-per-view that we watched, Hell in a Cell a couple of months ago here on campus. He lost that match. He lost this one. And as long as he bounces back eventually, I think he's going to get that big win. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I didn't really have any problem with Bray Wyatt winning, but I definitely would have preferred Dean Ambrose winning this matchup, which I do assume will happen eventually.
Even if he doesn't win, I mean, it does suck that he's not winning, but he just, goddamn, it's always just such a fun...
Oh, absolutely.
Just to watch him out there. I mean... even again, it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's just that he's out there doing his thing. That's the most entertaining thing.
Yeah, exactly. The guy's so entertaining in everything he does on the mic, in the ring, whatever else. But Rusev, Lana, and Ambrose, of those three, and anyone else neglected to mention, who would you say is your favorite of those people?
Oh, definitely Ambrose.
Ambrose by a large margin.
Yeah.
Nothing beats Ambrose. Nothing beats Ambrose. I think he's awesome. CM Punk was definitely my number one before he left earlier this year, but now that he's gone, I would have to put Ambrose in my favorite wrestler spot. But yeah, I thought that was a great way to close off the show and the show in general, the match and whatever else. But on that note, what were your general thoughts on the entire pay-per-view as a whole compared to the last pay-per-view that we watched, Hell in a Cell, and just in general?
Like I said, that I am the casual. I am the scrub. Who's
the ScrubLord? I'm sorry.
The ScrubLord, yeah. So I mean, I really don't. I just watch it and I'm entertained, and then sometimes I'll forget about it. But I think the fact that I can remember, the match, some matches, 2 days later, especially as crazy as it's been. I've had like 3 projects and a final tomorrow. I have all this shit I have to worry about, that I can still remember and talk about and say how much I liked particular matches and things that happened. I think that says a lot. It's like just that they stick out in my mind that much, that after the short but long passage of 2 days has gone down.
Yeah, it leaves an impact.
I think it speaks volumes about the quality of the matches that were there. Yeah,
absolutely. I think because I really do think this was more of a 2-3 match show, and then all the other matches I didn't think were like too awesome. I mean, nothing here was terrible. I didn't really get pissed at anything on the show. I thought overall it was good, but like you said, I thought the main matches delivered. I thought Cena and Rollins, the Ziggler match, the ladder match that kicked off the show, and especially the main event, I thought all 3 of those matches delivered in more ways than one. So for that reason alone, I thought it was a good pay-per-view. Some other people didn't think so. But, I mean, WrestleMania's coming around the corner, so they're building that point anyway. So, for what it was, I thought it was a really enjoyable pay-per-view. I mean, a lot of people will think it about otherwise, and if you didn't like it, that's okay. But I definitely thought the main event was worth it by itself. But would you say this was worth the $9.99, as Hitler would say?
That was worth the $9.99. Yeah.
You would think so? Absolutely. So, when we come back here on campus, I think it's the day that we do come back. I think it's January 25th. 2015 Royal Rumble, the road to WrestleMania begins. It's going to be a very interesting night, to say the least, come January 25th. So that being said, Connor, Mr. ScrubLord, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so that's going to do it for my conversation with Connor the Casual, as I like to call him. Like we said at the end there, we'll probably do one of these podcasts again after the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, because we actually come back to campus that night on January 25th. So we will be watching that pay-per-view together when we come back next month, and maybe we can do something similar where I get his thoughts on the pay-per-view. So that should be fun. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of WrestleRant Radio. Not going to really get into last night's episode of Raw, even though I thought it was an entertaining episode. A lot of mixed reviews. Some people thought it was bad. Some people thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I did enjoy the episode for what it was. Maybe it's because I'm in the Christmas mood, and Christmas is in 9 days and whatever else. But I thought it was a good show. I look forward to next week's Christmas episode, and I know that's one episode of the year that a lot of people, make to miss on purpose because it's not always the best episode. But, I always enjoy it. Hulk Hogan's going to be there as Ho-Ho Hogan, so I look forward to watching it. And I'll be talking all about that next week on WrestleRant Radio, only on NextEraWrestling.net. It's going to be in podcast form for the next 6 or 7 weeks until we get back on campus. The Tuesday after the Royal Rumble pay-per-view might not be the night we come back. I might be going to a show that night, so it's all up in the air right now. We'll talk all about it next week as it gets closer. That's a long ways down the pike. But that being said, though, also on NextEraWrestling.net, make sure to cast your votes right now in the 2014 WWE TNA Year in Review Awards. Go to Week in Review. It's a drop-down menu to the Year in Review Awards. The polls are open until December, Tuesday the 30th. The winners will be announced right here on WrestleRant Radio on that night's show. So a lot of exciting stuff. Thanks to all that have already voted. And make sure to check out all the archived editions of WrestleRant Radio only on NextEraWrestling.net. You can go to .weebly.com if you want, but .net is here to stay. You can check it out on the websites for every episode of WrestleRant Radio dating back to October of 2013. But of course, for all the usual plugs, you can follow me on Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at Graham Jason Matthews. Make sure to give me the old thumbs up, like the page, always appreciate it. YouTube, same thing, and Bleacher Report, same thing as well. And like I said before, really appreciate you guys checking out the show each and every Tuesday. We'll be back next week with my thoughts on Raw, 3 days before Christmas. So excited for it. Actually, it's going to be 2 days before Christmas. It's going to be on the 23rd. So I don't know how we're going to do the show next week. Might squeeze something in 2 days before Christmas. It's going to be interesting to say the least. But still, though, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the show tonight, guys. Always appreciate it. Have a great holiday season, and I'll catch you next Tuesday.
This